All right, everybody. Happy first day of July here. I happen to be in Italy on vacation, but I thought that we had an amazing trivia game this week, so I wanted to check in with you guys. Even though I was on the road, my name is Eli Robinson. I'm the Chief Trivia Officer here at Water Cooler Trivia. You can catch me on LinkedIn, TikTok at Chief Trivia Officer, Instagram, I don't know, all the places. We run a weekly trivia game for your company to stay connected in this remote hybrid world. It's really fun. We write new questions every week, and each week we go over them here on Twitch and YouTube so that you can see who did how well, what the tricks that we put into the game are, etc. So with that, let's get started. Hopefully, let's see. There we go. So here's how it broke down across all of the quizzes this week. We had 2,967 people playing the game. We had an average of 8.11. I put that in bold because that is very, very high. Last week, to give you an idea, we had an average of 6.9, and the median was 9, which is kind of insane. Majority of the time, our median is 7. One time, our median was 8, and so the fact that the median was 9 was like very, very, very high. As you see how that breaks down, unsurprisingly, you see that spike at 9. Almost 24% of people got a perfect score, which is really amazing. We embedded a metagame, a larger component into what was going on in this week's game, and so ultimately a lot of that probably playing into people doing so well, but kudos to everybody who played this week's game. According to the Hyundai Research Institute, the recently hiatus pop boy band BTS contributed about $3.5 billion to the 2020 economy of what Asian nation? So this one was at 92% correct. On the right-hand side, you see a picture of BTS with President Biden. Really, really happy this is a Q1. Of course, the answer is South Korea. This is just a really cool fun fact, and really enjoy how potent these gentlemen are for their home country. Just as a heads up, we accepted all forms of Korea, Republic of Korea. We did not accept North Korea. The metagame required the answer to begin with an S. So someone out there could have an interesting gripe saying, like, you should not have accepted Korea. Ultimately, we decided to rule in favor of allowing for just the word Korea. Question number 2. A hazy-looking Claude Monet painting of a sunset spawned the name of what blurry 19th century art movement that anagrams to Promises Minis? So 90% correct. You see a picture of the piece of art right there. The piece of art by Claude Monet was called Impression Soleil Levant. 72. Exactly impressionism. So we counted impressionist, impressions, I think, etc. If you are a stickler for how anagrams work, this probably pisses you off, and it should, because ultimately we gave you a set of letters to unscramble, and the fact that we were willing to accept other things other than the anagram unscrambled shouldn't be done in the future. Like I said, we thought long and hard about it. We probably in the future will need to put a bit of like a caveat in these questions that like spelling counts, but ultimately we decided to catch them, so we got a correct answer of 90%. Number 3, don't get it twisted. The Spanish for to turn is the root word for what violent weather thing that gets measured on the Fujita scale. So I think it's tornar or something is the verb. Ultimately, because it's somewhat of a cognate, I think you could have surmised that it began with the letter T. So 86% got it right. The answer is tornado. It's very unfortunate that both tsunami and typhoon start with a T. And I think because the word Fujita has an Asian component to it, there were quite a few people who thought tsunami or typhoon, but the answer is, in fact, tornado. Number 4, in 1960, a group of students at Columbia High School in Maple Ward, New Jersey, started throwing around a disc in a manner similar to a football. Due to a dispute with Whammo, what is now the official U-word title of this fast-growing sport? So Whammo owns the, I believe, trademark to the word frisbee. And so the sport, where at some point was called Ultimate Frisbee or whatever it maybe, is now just called Ultimate. So 88% correct. Anything that had ultimate in the title, we accepted. Ultimate disc, ultimate whatever. Judgment call, but people did pretty well on this one. Very fun sport, and it's fun to read about the origins of it, which were just a bunch of high school students. Question number 5, croissant not included. For a brief, flashy moment in 2022, Paris's legendary Moulin Rouge offered overnight stays on what Bay Area-based short-term rental website? 95% correct. The answer is, of course, Airbnb. There's a picture of the Moulin Rouge there on the right. Straightforward question, obvious answer. The spelling was hilarious. There's, I guess, a million different ways to spell Airbnb, so it made sense that we got a lot of them. We counted all of them. All very, very good for you guys. Question number 6. The first Marvel Cinematic Universe movie with nudity, Love and Thunder, is the subtitle of the upcoming 4th film revolving around what Hammered title hero? Unbelievably straightforward. Would have never expected you guys to do so well on this. 97% correct. Not full frontal nudity for those wondering. The answer, of course, Thor. Marvel, because of its ubiquity and the amount of money that Disney has kind of plowed into it, is kind of like one of those things that's just so overwhelming that it gets Marvel questions, which keep bad Marvel questions, but they are like the most popular movies that are out there by far. Question number 7. I will now ask you to have a think and see if you can find the link. Sugar Jameson and cream at a steaming mug of caffeine. Now, what is the name of the drink? So that is a limerick, hopefully one that you enjoyed. 87% correct. We put a picture of it on there. The correct answer is, of course, Irish coffee. We think that the image actually helped a lot because Irish whiskey was far and away the most common wrong answer, and if you see the image, you probably know that it's not Irish whiskey. So that's one of those where we think including the image was a good thing to do. I'm assuming that the limerick kind of like got people enough kind of discombobulated. We hope to do more of these in the future. This was really, really fun for us to write. I would imagine it was fun for people to read and to answer. And of course, anytime you get to use the pipe, that is a fantastic punctuation that we love in the tech world. All right, question number 8. Ted Lasso liked it so much he saw it twice. Upon a Time, 2007 to be exact, Glenn Hansard and Marketa Irglova won a Best Original Song Oscar for Falling Slowly from what film about struggling Dublin musicians? There's a picture of Grafton Street in Dublin on the right. 51% correct. Of course, the answer is Once. So you see a whole lot of cluing going on in the question. So, of course, you have the standard questions starting with Glenn Hansard. You have Upon a Time, 2007 to be exact, so that would have clued Once. And then for those that are Ted Lasso fans or wordplay fans, Ted Lasso liked it so much he saw it twice. That was a joke from Jason Sudeikis' character. Very difficult question. We gave a lot of cluing and still a pretty difficult question. Only half of people got it right. We got very, very sticklery on the answer for this one. We literally just accepted the answer Once, O-N-C-E. There were so many people who gave derivations of Once Upon a Time, Once in Dublin, all this kind of stuff. It's just not the name of the movie. So we had to be very, you heard earlier in the quiz, we got really kind of uptight about how we graded them. But in this case, we got we were very loose earlier. We got very, very uptight with how we graded this one. So literally the only answer we would have accepted was O-N-C-E. Question number 9. Of the 193 UN member states, the only two whose common English names contain RW together and in order are Rwanda and what Chile kingdom? 90% correct on this one. The answer is Norway, the Kingdom of Norway. So really, really enjoy the construction of this question. You include geography and wordplay. Fairly easy, but the wordplay component makes it very fun. Would love to do more of these in the future. I would imagine it's like, okay, Chile, you start like walking around, and ultimately they don't begin with an R and W. We had fun incorrect answers for people who thought it had to start with R and W, and so made up some very fun country names. Question number 10. What a state of affairs. If you answered questions 1 through 9 correctly, the first letters spell the nickname of July 4th birthday boy and Jersey Shore star Mike the What Sorrentino. So this is where the metagame is introduced. You didn't know you were playing a metagame until you get to question number 10. So 95% correct. The correct answer is, of course, situation. So if we go back through the answers, you'll see here South Korea, Impressionism, Tornado, Ultimate, Airbnb, Thor, Irish coffee, Once, and Norway, Situation, for situation. We assumed that not that many / anyone needed the metagame to get the question correct, so what you could have done is not known the answer to question number 10, get the answers to 1 through 9 correctly, and then know the answer to 10. We actually think it was a backwards-looking metagame, so people got to 10, they're like, oh, I know the answer to this one, and then they were able to go back to the answers that they gave and be like, ah, yes, now I have a hint. We love this. So, like, kudos to John Paul, our quizmaster, for coming up with this. I would imagine that people really, really enjoyed it. You saw how high the correct answers were. We'll come back to that in a second. I think this is why. Like, ultimately, people had the first letter to every correct answer already in their pocket, which is great. I'm not going to call the person out, but we got a fantastic incorrect answer to this question, which was Kitu Ananur. I obviously didn't get all the questions correct, which is hilarious. You know, the person went back. The K you see for Korea. So, like, I just love what happened here, and it just made me smile very much. So, there you see the answers by correctness. Once, obviously, was kind of like the big determining factor here. If you got that one right, then you were likely in the running for your group's title. Tornado, you can see, was close to being there as well as the Irish Coffee. So, taking a look at the stats one more time. A lot of 9s, a lot of 10s. And, you know, certainly we would not expect the quizzes to be this easy moving forward, but once again, I think it's a little bit of a testament to how we created the game, and it did a very good job with the cluing and question 10, and so kudos to John Paul, our quizmaster, who led the creation of this one. Once again, my name's Eli Robinson. It's first week of July here in 2022. I'm the Chief Trivia Officer here at Watercooler Trivia. You have any questions, comments, want to play the game, you visit watercoolertrivia.com. Find us all over the web at Chief Trivia Officer. Until next week, talk to you later.